41-year-old veteran construction worker Ron Hunt was part of a crew that was building a house in Reno, Nevada. The first thing he needed to do was drill a couple of large holes in the ceiling of one of the rooms in this house. He opened up a stepladder and placed it where he wanted it. He climbed up the ladder a couple of steps and began punching holes in the ceiling with this drill. Now, at first, these holes were very easy to punch through, but when he got down and moved the ladder to another section of this room, he could not get the drill to go through the ceiling. And he didn't really get it because he knew there was nothing behind the ceiling that would stop the drill from going through. And so he decided he just needed a little bit of extra leverage. He walked to the very top of the ladder. He really pushes with all that extra leverage into the ceiling. And as he does that, he feels the drill starting to go into the wood, but at the same time, he's pushing so hard that he's not realizing he's pushing down with his feet at a bit of an angle. And at some point, he pushes too hard and he causes the ladder to spill out from underneath him. Ron instinctively tried to throw the drill away from him, which is a common practice amongst construction workers. You don't want to land on your gear, but he wasn't able to throw the drill far enough away from him. When it hit the ground, basically right underneath him, it landed on its back with the drill bit pointing straight up into the air. He fell down face first, and so Ron, he hits the ground, but he's conscious, and so without even rolling over, he just reaches up with his hands and he feels the base of this drill, and at that point, he just starts screaming. The only other worker on the job site at the time was this man named Forrest, and Forrest, who was in a separate part of the job site, he hears Ron screaming, and so he runs over, he goes in the room, and he sees Ron, who's now standing up, cradling the drill base. And so Ron is looking at Forrest and then turns to the side to show him, and Forrest is totally horrified at what he's seeing. He can't believe Ron is even alive, but then Forrest jumps into action. He rips his shirt off, runs over to Ron, and kind of wraps it around his head to try to control the bleeding a little bit, and then he tells Ron to stay where he is, and then Forrest ran out of the job site, ran about 1,000 feet away to the nearest house, and he was able to use their phone to call paramedics. The paramedics arrive in an ambulance a few minutes later. Ron is very obviously in shock because he's not making any sound. He's totally conscious, but he's just kind of staring blankly, holding on to this thing. And so the paramedics, they go over and they detach the drill base from the drill bit. They actually fly him in a helicopter to a hospital that can handle this kind of injury. They rush him immediately to the operating room, and apparently as they were doing that, Ron was cracking jokes about how somebody needs to come in here and take a picture of me. I probably look so great. And so miraculously, Ron would survive, and he would not even be paralyzed. The worst thing that happened to him is he lost the sight in his right eye, but all things considered, Ron is okay with that. The surgeons would tell Ron that by some unbelievably slim chance, he survived. Just know that I really appreciate your support, and until next time, that's going to do it. See ya.